All right, so here is this one's going to be the a little bit more of the spoilers for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie that just came out. So if you don't want to hear any spoilers or anything, or hear any of my nitpicking about it, skip this video, watch my other one, go watch the movie, and then come back and maybe leave a comment to see if you feel the same way as me. Uh, it's a little bit late in the evening right now, so I'm still taking it all in. Yeah, where do I begin? The actor who played Vernon, I really liked him. Is because if you remember Vernon from the old '80s TV show, I thought they picked a very good actor. I'm bad with names, so I can't remember his name, but he plays that role pretty. I thought they picked a good character. Some of the fears that we had were like Shredder was going to be April's dad. No, that's not the case. Fears that they were going to be aliens. I know that rumors was dispelled a while ago, but yes, thankfully they are mutants. The ooze, though, April refers to it in the past as maybe being from outer space or something. So that is a possible origin of the ooze if they do make a sequel. Sadly, they didn't leave much open for like sequels or anything in this movie. I would have liked. They didn't have any references to Casey Jones or anything else like that. I would have been nice to have some little Easter eggs in there like that. If they were planning, I'm just going to take this up. If they were planning on doing a sequel to this already, which I'm sure they are, I mean, they're going to have to. I'm sure it's going to make a lot of money just from anybody seeing it. It would have been nice to reference the Purple Dragons a little bit. So far, they're always referring to the Foot Clan. The whole city knows about the Foot Clan. The Foot Clan are doing some major crimes around the city, trying to establish themselves. And so it would have been nice to say like, oh, they have the purple dragons that they're fighting with on these other territories, or that the purple dragons were a subdivision of the Foot Society, so that later on, if they do make a sequel, well, we all know Casey Jones fights the purple dragons, and uh, that would have been a good way to introduce him. They There were some funny moments in it where April first sees the turtles and she takes a pic. They're all up on the rooftop high fiving, and they just stop like, "Oh crap, we got our picture taken." That was actually pretty enjoyable. One of the nitpicks I do have, I'm kind of getting my head of myself. Shredder was in it. You can't see who he is and other stuff. I thought he was a little bit underused as a villain. I mean, I don't know what it is. Maybe I've been spoiled with robotic armors from like Iron Man, and I haven't seen Silver Samurai, so I can't really compare it to him. I didn't see I didn't see the Wolverine, but yeah, just seeing the armor, I'm like, I mean, it's intimidating. It makes more sense for him to be able to go toe to toe with the turtles like this. But and you do see some scenes where it says like, yeah, he's definitely a badass martial artist without his armor, but yeah, just the armor was a little bit over the top, and I felt if they were going to go that far, I felt they could have gone a little bit further with the armor. Some scenes where they're fighting on the rooftop later on in the movie, and he's hanging off the thing. I'm thinking, did, you couldn't learn anything from Iron Man. You should have put some jets on that thing. Otherwise, and I guess, but yeah, he's a little bit underused as a villain, and I don't think they established him enough to in the movie to show just how much of a threat he really is to the turtles, or how the gravitas that he should be coming across for him. It's kind of relying more on, you have to know who this character is to kind of feel any importance behind him. And even me, I'm a fan of the old '80s show and the 2000 show and the new 2012 show, and in those ones, yeah, they established that Shredder's really important. Shredder's a foe to be reckoned with. And this one is just like, yeah, he's tough, but you don't get that arch villainous. You get that more with the head scientist bad guy. I can't remember his name. I'm just terrible with names. Turns out that this evil scientist, the scientist, is actually working with the Foot Clan, and it turns out that he was the one who mutated the turtles. That they were actually test subjects in this lab, and April's dad, like I said, spoilers, so don't watch this if you don't want to hear it. April's dad was the one who actually helped with this research, because it was all part of the Shredder's plan to poison the city, and then the scientists would come up with the cure, and they would make lots of money. It's all about the money and stuff. No world domination in this one. And it turns out that April is the one who during this fire, April was the one who rescued the turtles and Splinter and set them free before they actually started mutating. With after they were injected with the ooze and before they got a chance to be mutated. And actually, I do like the fact that she's the one who's offering the turtles pizza. I have two turtles. I don't think they would actually be eating pizza, but someone who does have turtles, they will eat anything that you kind of can give them, although almost anything. So that does kind of explain their love for pizza. Scene in there where Splinter finds him sneaking out, and I thought he was being a little bit mean to them, just a little bit, and just like no, that yeah, it just put at the beginning. It just kind of put me off because that's not how you when you think of Master Splinter, you think of a really stern, well, a father figure, but he's still disciplined and other stuff. This time, he just seems like he's kind of torturing them just for the sake of them sneaking out, and he's wanting to get information. And then after he finds out what happened when they sneaked out, he just turns on a dime. But just for that brief second, it's just like, no, he's not really appealing to me. Splinter isn't a pet of a sensei or anything, and he doesn't initially know any martial arts. He finds it from a book and is taught from a book. I'll probably have to check with my karate teachers and other stuff like that. But I don't think you can become as good of a ninja, as good of a master just from a book. I think you need someone to train you, especially to get the form down. Just from what I've been practicing, I need someone to train me. I can't just look at a book and pictures and be like, oh, this is what I'm supposed to do, because there are subtleties of how you're supposed to do it in timing and everything else like that. So Splinter trains himself before he trains his kids, but in the original show and comics, Splinter's really up there. He's like, he can go toe to toe with the Shredder, and you can only do that I think if you're a grand master, not someone who just picked up a book and started training and training. I mean, granted, he's been training nonstop himself, and they've all been training nonstop themselves since the day where they were mutated or since a certain age. And so, yeah, if you were doing that and were dedicated day in day out, I would guess you could be good at it. But still, I don't know. I have to check with that one. That's the one part that's one part I do question. There is a scene in there where Splinter's revealing their backstory and stuff, and the turtles are like, Shredder, well, let's go out and kick his ass. And Splinter's like, no, you're just teenagers. You can't handle it. But I'm looking at them, and these guys are like 8 feet tall. I'm just thinking, like, they're 8-foot tall teenagers. Let them go. It doesn't make any sense. That was actually kind of a funny scene. He's like, no, you're just teenagers. But then later on, you see them, they're like towering over Shredder, even in his mech suit. Like, yeah, they're teenagers. No, they're the size of adults. They're one of the flashback scenes. They show the teenagers as like probably preteens, maybe like 10 or 12, and they actually looked interesting. I almost wanted a whole movie just of them because they looked more like little kids and other stuff. And I just thought like, hey, those are a little bit more at the age group that I would assume and stuff. But yeah, so I really like those designs a little bit more than the big ones. I got a little bit used to the way the turtles looked as the movie went on. I try not to focus on Mikey because I think he's the one that looks the most garish and just he was kind of the most creepiest. Just not only from how he looked, but just the way he was acting in it. Not that it was bad acting, just his personality came along. It's a little bit creepy. Donnie was a little bit. Hate to say this, but he was a little bit forgettable. I can't really remember him doing too much in the movie other than being Mr. Nerd. I mean, he's spouting out tech stuff and he's doing all these things, but he seemed really one note, like nothing more than just the techie nerd guy that spouts technobabble and stuff. So I felt that he was kind of really underused, and he could have been explored a little bit more, or they could have done a little bit more with him. Leo and Raph were the ones who definitely stood out. You don't really get a sense of why Raph is angry, or they don't explain anything. You could have easily done that with an offhanded remark like, "Oh, he's always angry," or other stuff, but that could be always brought back in sequels or other stuff. But anyone who's watching the TV show or watching the other stuff, I'm sure young fans are going to be going into this and know why Raph is the way Raph is and why Leo's the way he is. But their designs were, the Leo and Raph, and their designs I got a little bit used to them, and I could and I could overlook that a little bit, that stuff a little bit more. The look of Splinter just seemed kind of weird to me. He doesn't look like a rat to me. He looks more like a capybara, which is a rodent. But anyways, that's neither here or there. As far as everything else goes, there's were some scenes in there. I'm kind of getting a little bit on the long side here, but there were some scenes that they did go by really fast. This trip down the mountain, I thought was like, they would have stopped a lot sooner than that. Uh, they wouldn't have slid all the way down as they did, just sliding down snowy mountains. It's like you don't go that far with that much momentum that you would get stopped. But I mean, it's fantasy and other stuff. And it was a good action scene, but yeah, it was this little weird. Karai, I had a little bit of problem with. They introduced Karai, and the actress I thought she was also really underused. She's supposed to be this badass fighter, and if you know she's Shredder's daughter or adopted daughter, I thought the actress that they got was I hate to say this, a little bit too old for this role. I think they would have been better if they got someone just slightly bit more Megan Fox age, just because if you put it up towards sequels, then they can fight with each other or other stuff. There's a bit more, but she was very underused and it just kind of it just seemed that they named her for just the fact of naming her. Um, the turtle layer looked good. You kind of wonder where they're getting some of this technology, where they're getting rocket powered stuff and other things. You figure they scrounge these things up, but still, it's like there's a scene where Mikey has a jet powered skateboard for one part. I'm like, yeah, where's he getting that? Where are they getting the fuel? I know they live in the sewers. Where are they getting this stuff? I know they scrounge, but yeah, where's he getting a jet engine? I know Donnie can build stuff and that stuff, but it's just like they threw it in there just for the sake of throwing it in there. As far as the sequels go, I mean, uh, some people will probably ask me who my favorite is. It's Slash. Well, Leo's my favorite out of the main turtles, but if you ask me who my favorite character out of the whole series is, it's going to be Slash, and I would like to see him pop up in a sequel, honestly. But they could actually do it from this origin story, like he was a fifth turtle that was actually mutated in the labs, but just he wasn't actually saved or rescued, so he grew up someplace else. If with the non without the knowledge of where the ooze came from, if they kind of left that vague, so they can introduce the Krang a little bit later. I don't know how they would introduce their own mutants if they came back. I really like to see if Bebop and Rocksteady could actually come into a sequel if they made it. But they don't really mention the origin of the ooze, so that could be another way to introduce the Krang or the Utron or whatever. Uh, it's hard to say if they killed off Shredder because he falls from a skyscraper and lands on the concrete, even though he's in his battle suit, shows him kind of still moving. Uh, they don't say he's dead, although I'm thinking like, yeah, it's a pretty serious fall. He's probably really fucked up. But I would hate to have them do what they do with Megatron in the Transformers movies and like just bring him back for the sake of bringing him back or just having him in there because he should have been actually more of an established villain and more of the main villain. It seemed more like the scientist was the more bigger villain in this one. Uh, and just the stakes didn't seem as dire to me for some reason. It's just like, Uh, so if they do make a sequel, I hope that they don't bring the Shredder into it just for the sake of if he's the main villain, that's cool. But I hope they don't bring him in. Like I hope they don't introduce another main villain and then just have the Shredder there and have him there for all the different sequels. He should either be the main villain and die, or they should have a new villain and Shredder not be in it, and maybe have him come back for a third one because they're gonna make more of these. I mean, these are here to sell toys and sell tickets and other stuff. So there's gonna be more Ninja Turtle stuff. Um, as far as the looks of the turtles, I mean, I did say the face. I meant more of the faces, but just the other garb that they had on them was a little. I don't know. You couldn't tell that they had all this extra stuff on them as much, like as you see on the action figures. So that was kind of nice. I did like how Raph's shell, he has duct tape on it where he's got cracks, and he even says, "Oh, my shell's cracked. Just tape it up." So he's like just definitely a tough guy. The scars that they have on there, I enjoyed the looks of them and other stuff. The size of the turtles, it was a little off-putting because they're supposed to be short and other things. But is there anything else as I could say is uh, not really. Is there any more to the plot? But it's those are just a few nitpicks, I think. But definitely, I would say, yeah, it's a good movie. A lot better than what I expected. It's compared to like what we've seen the Transformers movies, and I stopped after two. I just couldn't, I didn't see any more after two, just because it was like, no, I can't deal with this. So I thought it was going to be like that onwards, and I've heard the rest of them have just gotten worse and crazy. But comparatively speaking, I thought, no, this is actually pretty decent. This is actually pretty good. The turtles actually work well together as brothers. I mean, yeah, they have their quirky differences and stuff, but there were some scenes like the elevator scene where Mikey just starts kind of jamming, and then you see Raph just kind of like, yeah, 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 and Donnie doing it too, and Leo finally breaks down. They're just like all jamming before they go out and attack Shredders. I thought that was actually a genuinely funny moment, and I enjoyed that. So it made me feel like more, yeah, they're really kind of like still teenage. They still have some little bit of a teenage mindset. Anyways, that's about all I can really think of for the movie. There's not much else I want to say or can think of at this time right now. I'm still, like I said, I'm still kind of thinking about it. Let me know if you like this, me doing the movie reviews before things come out. If you do, I can try to make an effort to go see more movies and give you a heads up. But if you want me to just stick with the toys, just let me know in the comments below. But anyways, as always, if you like this video or enjoyed it, leave a comment or like or subscribe. So, see ya.